Back in the late 80s or early 90s, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I found myself at home under the care of my older sister, who was around 14 or 15 at the time. Growing up in a close-knit small town in Texas, where the familiarity among residents is a given, my sister and I were left to our own devices for the evening. Thanks to the significant age difference between us, we got along remarkably well. On this particular evening, around 8 p.m. during winter, when even the desert's embrace turns unexpectedly chilly, darkness had already settled in. We were nestled in the common room, the heart of our nightly routines, primarily because it housed the television. There we were, engrossed in one of those hour-long investigative news programs on CBS, whether it was 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, or Hard Copy, I can't quite recall. These shows delve deep into the morbid curiosities of large-scale crimes, from trafficking and murders to kidnappings, much like a more intense version of a Lifetime movie. The story that night was about a seemingly quiet man from next door who had unleashed violence on his neighbors, resulting in a horrific scene and the abduction of their daughter. This backdrop of crime and mystery set a chilling tone for our night. Our living room was designed with a vast expanse of floor-to-ceiling windows, culminating in a large glass door that led to the backyard. Beyond these windows lay an impenetrable darkness, as we hadn't turned on the backyard light. Roughly 45 minutes into the program, as the narrative touched on the frantic search for the perpetrator, a sudden, thunderous knocking on the front door shattered the calm of our evening. The unexpected noise sent us into a state of panic, screaming in terror, only to be followed by a haunting silence. The only sources of light were a distant kitchen light and the flickering glow from the television. At first, we rationalized that the wind, known for its ferocity in West Texas, had hurled something against the door. However, the eerie calm that followed our initial shock was abruptly ended when we heard the storm door close. The realization that someone must have opened it to knock with such force sent waves of fear through us. Paralyzed by fear in the center of the room, my sister mustered the courage to turn off the TV, its loud click echoing in the silence, signaling our hope that darkness might hide us from whatever was outside. Now, the room was faintly illuminated by the light from the kitchen, casting long shadows down the hallway. The passage of time felt distorted as my sister and I exchanged anxious glances between each other and the ominously silent front door. A vivid memory etches itself into my mind during these moments. Kneeling, I turned to face the expansive wall of glass that separated us from the outside world. Suddenly, the silence was pierced by the sound of the back door's knob turning. It was locked, yes, but not deadbolted, offering minimal resistance. The knob rattled quietly at first, as if someone outside was testing it with a gentle touch. We were petrified, our breaths held in anticipation. Then, without warning, the door was assaulted with a series of violent thuds, shaking the entire wall of windows. Each attempt to force the door made my reflection in the glass blur and sharpen in a rapid, terrifying rhythm. At this point, my sister's fear erupted into a scream that filled the room. Paralyzed by fear, I remained on the floor as she sprang into action, pulling me into her bedroom. In a flurry of desperation, she barricaded the door with her mattress and anything else she could find. Fortuitously, she had grabbed the phone, a bulky beige portable model with a long metal antenna, before retreating. In her panic, she couldn't recall the sheriff's number, opting instead to hit the radio button. The call connected to a friend, to whom she frantically explained our dire situation, urging them to come immediately. The explicit urgency in her voice was something I hadn't heard before. Curled up on the floor, I was unable to stop shaking. Overwhelmed by fear, the ordeal seemed to stretch on endlessly until the comforting glow of headlights signaled the arrival of my sister's friend and her parents. We never discovered who tried to enter our house or their reasons. The only trace was some scuff marks on the back door, and we couldn't recall if they were there before. Since then, nothing similar has happened, but we've made it a point to always lock our doors.